Representative Haler, we've just started the 2014 legislative session, and you serve on the House Appropriations Committee. How do things look budget-wise as compared to the past several years?
I think the budget was passed on a bipartisan basis last year, and I think we're looking better than we've ever looked before, especially with the bipartisan budget, because for the first time, because of the majority coalition in the Senate, and because of the things that happened in the Republican House this last session, or the session before this year, things are really looking great. We've got a great budget. It's balanced for once. There was no deficit spending. We had the opportunity to, for the first time in 20 years, have a budget that did not ask for tuition increases from our college students. So I think that was just an outstanding budget overall. And I look forward to seeing this bipartisan budget, no tax increase budget, moving on into this year when we consider our supplemental budget too.
Speaking of bipartisan budgets, you're sponsoring legislation this year, House Joint Resolution 4201, that would require a 3/5 vote of both chambers of the legislature in order to pass the state's operating budget. Why is that?
The reason that I'm doing that is I want to continue the spirit of a bipartisan budget by having a 3/5 vote. This is a little bit lower than the 2/3 vote that the public voted in. But I think it's more palatable if we just apply it to the operating budget rather than to everything at this point in time, especially with the representative makeup we have in the Senate as well as in the House. And the Democrats are in charge of the House, the Republicans are in charge of the Senate. By passing a 3/5 vote, we can carry that spirit on irrespective of who is in control. This is the people's budget. When we talk about the operating budget, this is the people's budget. It's their money. We need to make sure that we carry on this spirit of cooperation rather than having a single party saying, well, this is how it's going to be, whether it's Republican or Democrat. And I think we need to be looking to stopping gridlock like they have in Washington, D.C. And by stopping it, I'm not saying we have gridlock here, but I don't want that cancer to infect our legislative ability to represent the people of this state.
There was an awful lot of talk about transportation and a possible gas tax increase by as much as 10.5 cents per gallon. What do you see happening with the possibility of a gas tax increase this session?
I think it's very unlikely. The Senate and the House are saying we have to have reforms, especially when you take a look at the big dig where they've come into a dead standstill with the thing that's building the tunnel in Seattle. It hit something that nobody knew was there. That screams that, hey, there wasn't enough look what was down the road from there. And when you're dealing with a contract that is cost plus, that is not representing the people's will. I think that by raising the gas tax, we already have one of the highest gas taxes in the nation. By raising it to 10.5%, or even, it's been talked about even higher, that will force people not to buy gas, to seek cheaper cars, cheaper modes of transportation, and we end up losing again. So I think there are reforms that need to be done before we talk about a gas tax, and I believe those reforms can cover any kind of tax that we might be considering. So I don't think there's a need for a tax.